everyone, it's Maki here. Promotion videos for Gundam Seed Freedom are being released one after another. Even in short videos, there are many discoveries, and it's fun, isn't it? Today, let's have a casual chat. It's a discussion about the ending of Gundam Seed Freedom. I'm sure many of you are curious about how the movie will conclude. In fact, at the time of the first installment, a clear conclusion was presented. However, this information is from over 20 years ago. Given the current context surrounding Gundam fans, there's a high possibility that the story might take a different turn. Today, I'll talk about two potential endings from these perspectives. First, let's discuss one possible ending for convenience. We'll call it Prane. This is an ending that was considered in the early days of Gundam Seed. This ending is discussed in the commentary section. At the end of the novel version, the content is presented by Mr. C.G. Takedo, a producer from an organization called Mainichi Broadcasting. He is one of the key figures behind the TV animated Gundam Seed, and he has had numerous discussions with directors and scriptwriters to shape the production. Moreover, he is the one who monopolized the race known as the coordinator. Mr. Takeda emphasizes that even if the coordinator race did not wage wars, they would still face the brink of extinction. This mainly relates to the setting of their declining birth rate. Due to continuous genetic manipulation, the birth rate of coordinators has drastically decreased. This is one of the reasons for Gilbert Giano's breakup with Talia Gladys. As a result of the complex gene sequences, a phenomenon occurs where fertilization does not happen. Patrick Zar argued that advancements in technology could solve this issue, but Sigurd Klein opposed this notion. Even without waging wars, the extinction of coordinators is highly probable. Moreover, there are other issues with the coordinators beyond their birth rate. It is stated that genetic homogeneity may result in a loss of diversity, making them vulnerable to unknown diseases. In the storyline, coordinators are portrayed as beings with high resistance to illnesses. However, this resistance is based on calculations for known diseases. The outcome against unknown pathogens is unpredictable. Even in the real world, there exists genetic diversity that offers resistance against pathogens. Mr. Takeda provides an example of the sickle-shaped red blood cell that can resist malaria. While it's a genetic trait that can cause anemia under normal circumstances, it also possesses the characteristic of not succumbing to malaria. In the world of Gundam Seed, the S2 type influenza took many lives. While this disease primarily affected the Nautilus, there's no guarantee that a similar phenomenon wouldn't strike the coordinators. Even in our reality, we recently faced a global pandemic. It's a challenge that we all need to seriously consider. How do you think the coordinators will address the issue of their declining birth rate? Do you believe, like Patrick Zar, that technological prowess will be the solution? Or do you think, as Sigurd Klein suggests, that reconciliation between the Nautilus and the coordinators will be the resolution? Mr. C.G. Takeda delves into other programs as well. Here he discusses warfare. The only viable approach to eliminating wars is to adopt the means of not instigating wars. Unless conflicts are resolved through dialogue and mutual understanding, their eradication is unattainable, he argues. In the novel version, the scene where Athran, who defeated the Stray Gundam, reunites with Kakali is depicted in more detail. Kakali Kakali points her gun at Afran. As she gazes upon a tearful Afran, Kakali reflects on the implications of war. Can genuine peace truly be achieved if they continue to fight one another? They must break this cycle. She resolves. She contemplates resisting the inescapable loop. They seem trapped in akin to the Mobius strip. Kakali decides never to harbor resentment towards Afran, and with that, the scene concludes. Mr. C.G. Takedi's message of making the decision not to wage war, although demonstrated on a personal scale with Kakali, manifests itself in the scene. In the novel version, there is a deeper depiction of the High Priest male. He was once a member of an ancient religious group. However, faced with the rise of genetic technology and the conflict between naturals and coordinators, he decided to leave the old religion behind. He imparted an extremely simple philosophy to the people. Naturals and coordinators are both human and their brethren. They are fruits from the same tree, and among them there will eventually emerge those who will roll toward the distant sea. Those who venture towards the distance are referred to as those who possess the seed. They are beings who harmonize with the world and bring hope to all. SEED stands for Superior Evolutionary Element Distant Factor. It is interpreted as an entity that can manifest in both naturals and coordinators. Rather than a transformation of the body, it's a transformation of the spirit, as High Priest Mayo explains. Kakali is a natural, yet she has awakened to the abilities of the seed. Aslan is the coordinator. He too has awakened to the seed's abilities. Furthermore, Aslan belongs to the second generation of coordinators, a generation facing a great decline in birth rates. The understanding and mutual love between Afran and Kakali are vital elements in the seed storyline. It might not be an exaggeration to say that it's the most crucial element for achieving mutual understanding between naturals and coordinators, as well as renouncing war. This aspect may even be more significant than the romance between Kiro Yamamoto and Lois Klein. Of course, this is an opinion from a logical standpoint for producing stories. It's also important to remember that there isn't inherently any hierarchy in romantic elements. Observing the various perspectives and opinions with a calm mind is crucial. The reconciliation between naturals and coordinators, abandoning war to achieve peace, is symbolized by the characters Afran and Kakali, who hold significant importance. So, what role does Kira Yamamoto play in this narrative? Drawing from the words of High Priest Mayo, Kira's role would be that of the one who roars toward the distant sea. This role mirrors that of George Glenn. Gilbert Jr. offered Kira the role of a pilot meant for combat. However, Kira does not favor war in what field would his exceptional abilities ideally shine. Kira studied various engineering disciplines at Heliopolis. He found joy in the everyday quest for knowledge with his friends. For Kira, stepping away from war and embarking on a journey to explore the unknown expanses of space would be one form of a happy ending. And if Lois Klein were by his side on this journey, it would be the perfect conclusion for him. There was a time when the director and staff discussed the entity known as Evidence 01 that appears in the story. Surprisingly, not much detailed setting was prepared for this fossil. Evidence 01 was conceived to adapt to the story's world. The movie will likely depict a battle against a new organization. There might not be much time dedicated to detailing Evidence 01. However, if there's a scene where Kira gazes at the Evidence 01 fossil before setting off on his space journey, wouldn't that be a profoundly beautiful ending? The above is Plan A for the conclusion of Gundam Seed Freedom. I will now discuss Plan B. To begin, allow me to introduce myself unexpectedly. I am Chairman Maki of the Plant Supreme Council. The state of war between us, at Plant and the people of Earth remains unresolved, and I apologize for reaching out so suddenly. But I implore you, please listen. Why can't we join hands? There have always been those who obstruct peace. Their influence stretches into different worlds. They say fight for profit. If you don't, you're a coward. If you don't obey, you're a traitor. There are those who create enemies and order their defeat, aiming to prevent the advent of a peaceful world. Are you aware that companies like Bandai and Sunrise, which propagate war, are merely creations of their design? Behind the scenes it says, we are Gundam fans. It's true, our strong desires might perpetuate the story and wars of Gundam Seed. It's a deeply troubling issue. Should the conclusion of Plan A be realized, peace will come to the cosmic era world. On the other hand, the story of Gundam Seed will conclude. The continuation of battles may well give rise to new mobile suits. Gundams may be born. There is a value to be found in not wanting the story to end. In fact, there is a real-world example that can be referenced in this case. There exists a Gundam series that, although concluded, continued its story. It's the Gundam Wing series. This series found its peace in a work titled Endless Waltz. The ending depicted a future where, after this war, the entities known as mobile suits disappeared. Weapons named Gundam were never seen again. However, due to the popularity of Gundam Wing, a continuation of the story was produced. This work was given the subtitle Frozen Teardrop. In this novel, weapons named Gundam basically don't appear, but just because they aren't called Gundams doesn't mean they aren't recognized as such to a fan's eyes. Weapons that can only be seen as Gundams make their appearance. It's a narrative development that seems to negate the conclusion of Endless Waltz among fans. While many were pleased, some were also confused. Concluding a story comes with the risk of causing such situations. The conclusion of Plan B offers a kind of happy ending, but complete peace does not arrive. A recent work, The Witch from Mercury, might serve as a reference. Characters will finish the story with seemingly happy expressions. However, the seeds of war in the world remain, maintaining a setting where a new story can be crafted. I personally believe there's a high likelihood that we'll see the conclusion of Plan B. After all, I too harbor a desire to see new Gundams and mobile suits in action. I'm sorry, here I am Chairman Duano. Among Gundam fans, some speculate that the Gundam Seed movie might become a trilogy. Whether multiple movies will be produced remains to be seen. But if it means the continuation of the story, this prediction might very well come true. If it does become a trilogy, what titles might we expect? Gundam Seed Freedom, Gundam Seed Justice, and what do you think the third one might be? Please do share your thoughts. My prediction, of course, I anticipate it will be Gundam Seed Great. I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode.